Brings me to the last question, and this is a question. I'm sorry, I can't take questions from the audience because समय नहीं है उतना. लेकिन आपने जो भी questions भेजे, 200 से ऊपर questions थे, and I tell you that I faithfully went through each one of them, and I've combined them into subjects. And this is the last question that I want to ask before I would ask Dada to talk about the way forward. And this is something that I need all three of the guests to speak about. It is basically, we are saying what can and this is a question asked by many of you, what can a common Hindu or a common citizen do to at least slow down and to stop the damage to some extent that is happening to Hindus and to civilizational cause? Is there a practical action plan that we can adopt? And how do we win this civilization battle in the long run when we know that demography is destiny? Do you have an action plan? That would be wonderful to know if you have.
No, definitely. Definitely there's an action plan. But I'll tell you the amazing disconnect, and Dada has really put the finger on the pulse, you know, and it's, I'm amazed. Dada, are you an independent, were you an independent MLA or from आज तक कभी किसी कांग्रेस एमपी ने इतना कभी किया होगा क्रिटिसाइज गवर्नमेंट को? This is the difference. Please remember this and re-elect him, and I'm also removing my nota thing, and if I can. But I'll tell you the disconnect, and this is why Saism, when he says that when people come to power, what happens? I will ask you a question, and please raise your hands, and then I vouch for it that not a single BJP politician will ever raise the hand on this question. The question is, does terrorism have religion? Name one BJP minister. Leave minister कार्यकर्ता who will say openly that terrorism is. वो उल्टा, अरे हम तो बता रहे हैं आपको नाविका जी, राहुल जी, टेररिज्म का रिलीजन है ही नहीं. और यहाँ लोग डेटा पे डेटा कलेक्ट किए जा रहे हैं पागलों की तरह कि 31,000 टेरर अटैक्स हुए हैं based on Islamic principles since 9/11, and you are saying terrorism has no religion. But to come back to your question, which was, can Hindus do something? I think the government has to do. Hindus have elected it. But I have changed my view. There is a little bit of this anarchic कीड़ा that has gone into me ever since Supreme Court said on farm bills कि भाई वो कहाँ हैं जो कि pro farm bills हैं, वो तो हमें दिख ही नहीं रहे हैं. Basically, they wanted 86% of Indian farmers to come onto the streets, not till the land and produce farm produce, but they wanted those 86% farmers to come onto the Supreme Court and say, look, we want these farm laws. This is what our country has been reduced to by the judiciary. Ki those who are doing their work in far-flung areas around India, who are creating wealth, who are making produce, they have to leave all this, and Supreme Court wants, because it wants to see, it only sees the anti-farm bills. It wants to see the pro-farm bill protesters, so they have to come. But if be that as it may, I think Hindus must come onto the streets then. Use the Supreme Court's Brahmastra and say Hindu temples must be under the control of Hindus. That is the first thing. And I don't want to scare you with data because one of the most authoritative guys, the other is our mutual friend T.R. Ramesh. No one has worked more on this than these two gentlemen. Lakhs, not even lakhs of crores of money that is legitimately Hindu is being lost, is being gained by the government because the temples and their land is in the control of the government. The government is dictating how and preventing Hindus from running their own colleges, their institutions, their Vidyapeeths, everything that other religions are doing at breakneck speed in health, in education, in providing every amenity, down to, as he said, making lawyers and judges, who knows, maybe army people. But Hindus are being prevented. What are Hindus going to do? For the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, people like Sai and others have been crying, look, government has no business to control Hindu temples. What has happened? This government, your government, BJP government has controlled even more temples in the last 8 years than the Congress had. If it wants, it can overturn the overturning of the 1959 Supreme Court judgment. That Congress overturned. BJP can overturn that overturn. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit what's the word for it, inception here. But the whole point is, what are the Hindus going to do? They voted this government. This government is a Hindutva government. अब वो ही नहीं कर रही तो क्या सड़क पे आ जाओगे? But I don't want, because all of you are earning, doing money, creating wealth that anyway this government is taxing to run. अब आप वो सब छोड़ के सड़क पे आओगे? What can be worse than that? So, of course, Chef, there are issues that Hindus can tackle. But I think this seed of anarchism, unless it gets into the Hindus, which would be a tragedy, I don't think the Hindus' issues can ever be solved.
I think there's a simpler way forward. Don't release our temples. Declare yourself a Hindu state. You can't have it both ways. That's it. You choose what you want to do. पैसा चाहिए तो परिचय को बदलो. That's it. Otherwise, I don't see the point in filling your coffers. This is not a facetious statement. I'm making this very, very seriously. Because then we will have to confront the absolute worst of values inherited from the West, secularism. Then you'll have to confront that. And you'll have to call out the BS it is. And then you'll start talking about a lot of things. Now that's one. But what is it that we can do as Hindus? One, don't leave Bharat for California. Please. Kindly, please. गांव छोड़ दिए, शहर छोड़ दिया, भारत छोड़ दिया, तो बचा क्या? किसके लिए लड़ रहे? मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता है. वहां से क्या you will want to form a diaspora fighting for a country which has vacated the country? Kindly, please stay in Bharat. This is the way of the future. Shakti has traveled everywhere and has come back to Asia. It has finished its journey in the rest of the world. The history of the world is a movement of energy. Energy is finally coming back to its source. Kindly stay. If you're looking for perhaps being a part of the most interesting, exciting generation, notwithstanding the troubles and challenges ahead, this is the place to be. Bharat is the battleground and Bharat is the way of the future. I am not saying this for any other reason. शिवलिंगों का अपने आप बाहर आना अपने आप में कुछ संकेत है if you're a believer. Idols which have been, I'm a hardcore believer. I hope that doesn't offend you.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Hardcore believer. इतनी सारी मूर्तियां जो 400 साल 500 साल दबे पड़े थे वो बाहर निकल रहे हैं. The explosion of interest in Bharatiya Sanskriti is tremendous. The voices that are being produced. I am a low-grade hustler. Ignore me. Look at the number of Shastric voices coming out, trying to protect traditions, who don't get the kind of space and the social media position advantage that we get. So, these are signs. And Dharma believes in cosmic signs. I cannot ignore that. 3, संस्कृति को बचाने से पहले परिवार को बचाइए. जो आपके बच्चे हैं जो वोक बन रहे हैं उनको पकड़िए. Because the motto of the left is you have power, we have your children. And they're investing in the future heavily. The rubbish from the United States has been refused by France, but India still doesn't have the guts to refuse it. I will never subscribe to gender-specific binary, non-binary pronouns in my life. I will never do this. This is internet karma. I'm saying this. I will never redact this particular position. As a Sanskriti that has dedicated temples for transgenders, which has celebrated in its own way, I don't need to learn your refuse. One, you don't need to teach us how to treat these people. They are our people. The worst of terms which are used to address them don't come from Hindi, they come from Urdu. Therefore, we have our own ways of, let's say, looking after our people. 3, at least at home, have a 3-tier system wherein the Matrabhasha finds some space. Please do. I will tell you the extent of my own coloniality. How seeped we are in English. 2 days ago, when I was actually trying to buy something on Amazon, for some weird reason, it switched to Hindi. It was such a clutter and irritating clutter in my head. And I said, what on earth is this? An Indian language is a clutter in your head? And a language that you're comfortable speaking in? And a language that you're comfortable conversing in? Because you see, speech is okay, but reading is important. Because then you won't forget the script. Now, you will remember, you will read. How many can write now in mother tongues? Thank you. I'm so grateful. Are. And force your native press to not simply transliterate English words in Marathi or Hindi. Computer ko computer mat bolna. I'll tell you why I'm so proud of Tamil language chauvinism. I'll say this. Let me just answer this question, and I hope I don't offend sentiments here. If I do, that's okay. The point is, the Dravidianists see Tamil Brahmins as Aryans. And we are castigated left, right, and center. Whereas all the prime literature has come from the Tamil Brahmanas. Subramanya Bharati, who they worship, is my distant relative. He is actually the damad of my family. And these are all, he is a cherut smoking Tamil Brahmin. So if you go to Nepal, they have traditions where they castigate Rama because ladki ko diya, dekho kya kar diya. In Bihar and other places, they won't give people their daughters in marriage to people coming from Uttar Pradesh and Koshal. There are certain traditions there because they carry the memory. Similarly, we say this about Subramanya Bharati. Dekho hamare ladki ke saath kya kar diya. Because the man never earned. He was a thinker. Cigar smoking thinker at home. Okay. Now the point is, retain your mother tongues. There is a reason why you have Ishtadev as a concept. You owe your duty to 3 sets of devatas. Your Kula Devata, because that protects your collective identity as a group and the traditions that go with it. Your Grama Devata, which is your guardian deity. Your Ishta Devata you choose according to your nature. That's exactly why Dharma offers you this 108 baskets. Choose what you want or mix and match. And choose a deity according to that. And once you have chosen or subscribed to that, please make sure that at least once a week you dedicate in some form to that particular deity, because all this talk is useless because you have to match the other guy in his commitment to his deity. And that is something you must learn from them, no matter what. It's not wrong. He is wrong because his point of view is against us. And he has positioned himself as matter and antimatter. But our commitment is where we are fundamentally, let's say, it's a shaky wicket. So in a previous talk somewhere I said this, the principle is what I'd call the SIP principle. Spiritually fit, intellectually fit, and certainly get physically fit. Make one trip to Israel and you'll realize not one gentleman I saw there had a punch. Once I came back, I realized kuch na kuch to karna padega. I can't go like this. So each of these components are important because it makes a difference. One of the reasons that Guru Gobind Singh specifically had physical attributes for the Khalsa, especially the beard, is to invite and invoke fear. The Kada was a sign of metal and Kshatra. They still call the weapon, the art of learning weapons in their own corrupted form, Shastra Vidya. It's nothing but Shastra Vidya. So my suggestions would be the following. Hinduism, as Rawatji said, unlike Islam, is rooted to a particular bhumi, which is why you pray as you worship to the bhumi as well. It's a consecration that happens with every ritual, so protect and stay, this is your land. Others can leave because it's not their motherland, this is our mata, you can't leave. 2, protect your children, your language, and we don't have the voluntary concept of zakat, fortunately so. 10% to any organization that does service for Dharma in some way. Hindu hai to bandhu hai is the bottom line. Thank you.
Dada,
I
you
will-
can. I'll sum up now. You can give the last your remarks and the way forward from the
Okay,
podium.
surely, yes.
This has been a very, very interesting session to moderate, and thanks so much, Anand, Sai, and Dada, for giving your valuable time and amazing insights. I'm going to end with something that I heard from Sahana Vijaykumar. Sahana Vijaykumar is a Kannada novelist who has written a book called Kashmir, which is based on Kashmir and the reality of Kashmir. And she had an interaction in Pune last 2 weeks ago. And she said something that stayed with me for this long, and I want to end with that. She said, and we were talking, Sana and I were talking before the event, and I had said we were talking naturally about the recent beheadings, and I had said that, it's in Umesh Kole's case, particularly in Amravati, he was friends with the guy who betrayed him for 16 years, who he actually came for his funeral and cried also. So I was talking about that, and she said, why are you surprised with it? Do they not keep goats in their homes before their festivals? Do they not treat them like their children? Do they not feed them? Do they not give them a lot of love? And then they slit the throat and watch it bleed slowly. So she said after that, hum bhi to bakre hi hai na. That one sentence stayed with me, and I want to end with telling you that no, we are not goats. We are lions. And if we have forgotten that, it is time to remember that, and it is time to never ever forget that. Thank you. And now I request Dada to give his summing up address.
Before Dada does that, 30 seconds more. No, please, Dada. Because I cannot, I don't know, it's maybe manufacturing defect or an aid that I cannot end without quoting some verses. So, because Shefali talked about, friends, let me quote some verses so that you know what you're dealing with. Do not forget that disbelievers are allies of one another, 873. Do not make disbelievers guardians, 551. Do not marry the polytheists, i.e. Hindu women, unless they come to believe in Islam, 221. And those who disbelieve in our verses, we will drive them into a fire, 456. Fight against those who do not believe in Allah and who do not adopt Islam. Fight them until they give the jizya while they are humbled, 929. Polytheists are the worst of creatures, 98.6. Those who deny the Quran, their necks will be shackled, 40.70. No one has the right to be worshipped but Allah, 40.62. And finally, do not take disbelievers as friends unless they convert, and kill them if they refuse, 489. Thank you.
It has been a very long session. Already it's 8. So I will sum up in a very short speech. First, my thoughts on the last question. Yes, as a society, it is our civilizational duty to do many things as suggested by Anand and Sai. But what I think is that within the framework of our constitution, what we can do, just like there was an anomaly as far as the federal nature of our state is concerned. So 370 was a dangerous doctrine, because if Kashmir has a special status, Maharashtra will ask for it. So the whole federal structure was in danger of that doctrine. Other important thing which is also there in the constitution is UCC. So what we have to do, it's only a very small portion. All the criminal and civil law is same for everybody irrespective of the religion. But those personal laws, why they should go? We have to eliminate the religious identity in the civil society. In that sense, you can have your religion, but as far as the civil society is concerned, all are equal. Those laws are equal. I know there is a heated debate about it. But if we want to start integration of the society, so we have to take this major step. Another thing, this dangerous doctrine of minority status, it is affecting Hindu society in a very negative way. It is not only giving advantages, privileges, and concessions to minority which the majority doesn't have. Apart from that, because of the lure of that status, or because of difficulty, like Ramakrishna Mission some years ago, they went to the court, they said, we are not Hindu. The Jains got the minority status. Now the Lingayats are demanding. So this is disintegrating the Hindu society. So we have to do what is most urgent. And that can be done through our parliament, through government. We have to raise an effective action plan. Today's conference was planned with this specific purpose, that we will not remain in the problem mode. ऐसे रोते रोते बैठो, रोते आए धोते आए. We should come up in a solution mode, that specific, some kind of advocacy, some key things, if done properly, urgently and effectively, definitely there will be a sea change. There has been a change, no doubt about that. But we are in the right direction, but we have to take the right speed. So that is more important. Another last point I would like to say, an American author, Susan Dunn, she has written a book about the American and the French Revolution. The name is Light and the Lightning. She has compared both. The basic idea is that revolutions are like lightning in the sky, spectacular. They are very attractive. You take French Revolution, such great values for which that revolution happened. But what was the outcome? Napoleon. The Russian Revolution, they wanted to create an equitable society. What was the outcome? The same. In America, though there was no drastic revolutionary change, it was basically first for the white men, not also the women. But gradually that society, they had a stability, and that through that stability grew a very strong nation. I think Susan Dunn has not read about India. In 1947 and later in 1950, at one go, this nation became a nation of equal people. It's a great thing. It's a great thing to be proud about. We have survived. I don't think in our history, our civilization was a civilization nation. Yes, there have been empires, but first time we are all in a very unique mode. This is a great experiment. And India can survive only through democracy. There is no other way we can survive. The last thing is, as truth about what Ambedkar ji said, that we are individuals, not a society. In Marathi, I always say, आमची गावकी एक आहे, आमचा प्रोजेक्ट आहे भावकी एक करण्याचा. That means we belong to a village. So that is a geographical unit. But bhavki, that means we should be like a bandhu, as you said. But that bandhu bhav, how can that happen in a society which Ambedkar described is a very multi-storied society, but there is no staircase. So basically, we have to build these bridges among ourselves, where there is, see, there are differences, many types of differences, but no differences can become the basis of discrimination. That should be the basic principle of building our society where we honor everybody. If we can do that, others who are trying to find fissures in us, Brahman, Brahmanetar, Savarna, Dalit, so these kind of, we have to challenge this, but not only academically, our own active social program, our behavior in our individual life, if we can change that, I'm a hopeful person. We have come a very long way. We have achieved much. And therefore, we should create an action plan. And you are all participants. We would like your inputs. You can send them to Shefali ji, and definitely we will meet again. Thank you.